Well, Tennessee did exactly what I thought it was going to do, 51-10. Maybe not the score, but the result is still the same. Another convincing win. We'll talk about it here on a postcast. Tennessee over NC State.
You are Locked On Vols, your daily podcast on the Tennessee Volunteers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome into it early here on a Sunday morning. Maybe if you're on the West Coast, late on a Saturday night. I am Eric Cain, and this is your postcast edition of Locked On Vols. It's going to be short and sweet. Actually going to make this as short as I possibly can to fit the requirements of what a postcast is, because it is 1:17 a.m. local time. I have a little bit of a drive ahead of me back to the hotel. We got some things to get going, and honestly, we'll sort of talk about that. We won't rehash it at length ad nauseum on a Monday morning. Tennessee went out there and took NC State to the woodshed. Tennessee was the far superior team. Tennessee was the deeper team. Tennessee was the more talented football team, and it was reflective in the scoreboard. I thought coming out of the gate, it's exactly the start that you didn't want to have if you're Tennessee. It was Grayson McCall finding his guy, KC Concepcion. It was NC State staying on the field, picking up first downs. I believe, I don't have the stats in front of me, but I'll get it for the show on Monday for sure. But I think that first play was that first drive for NC State was 10 plays, 29 yards, which is mind-blowing. How does that happen? I mean, Tennessee got a big TFL there on third down before they finally punted it away. But 10 plays, 29 yards, took like 6 or 7 minutes off the clock there to begin this football game. That's how it started. NC State stayed on the field for 3 consecutive third down conversions. And they picked up all 3 of those, but those were the only third down conversions that NC State would pick up all night long. They would finish going 3 of 12 on third down. So it started off like, oh man, this could be a long day. It was pretty much nothing after that. I mean, this was a defensive-dominated football game for Tennessee. There was a point in time, I want to say in the second quarter, when they kind of did a swinging gate, this being NC State, trying to create a lot of confusion. All they were trying to do was create a one-on-one matchup, a diversion, to get a one-on-one matchup for a defensive back for Tennessee on KC Concepcion. And they got it. It was Boo Carter, and he was about four links behind the receiver, and he had a big catch for about 25 yards. But outside of that, I mean, he finished the day 5 receptions, 53 yards, nothing happening. 7 targets. Tennessee did a really good job of shutting down the only playmaker that is on that football team, or that offense for NC State. Total defensive domination. You look at the overall stats. I mean, I'll get to Tennessee's offense here in a moment, because I think Tennessee played their C-plus game at most offensively. And you still won by 39 points. I mean, however many points it is, 41 points. It's pretty incredible. I want to talk defense here in segment number 1, because that is the story of the day for Tennessee. Total offense for NC State in this one, they ran 50 plays for 143 yards. 143 yards of total offense. Boy, that is getting it done. I mean, again, that is the most dominating stat I think that I can read there. 143 yards of total offense. Goodness gracious. Tennessee had 22 first downs. NC State only had 10 first downs in this one. I got the unofficial box score I'm looking at right now. I mentioned the third down conversions, 3 of 12 for NC State. Meanwhile, Tennessee was 50% at 7 for 14. Grayson McCall, 15 of 22, 104 yards. That's nothing. Hollywood Smothers, he led the team in rushing for NC State. He had 25 yards. I mean, C.J. Bailey had 7 yards. Kendrick Raphael had 5 yards. Again, Tennessee just absolutely dominated this phase of the football game. You had the forced fumble by Dominic Bailey, the recovered fumble by Dominic Bailey that led to points the other way. You had the pick 6 by Will Brooks. Credit Joshua Joseph for getting pressure out there on the edge, and he had Grace McCall that kind of had to lob it there over his head and put it in no man's land. And credit Will Brooks for being in the right spot, right time. I mean, he's going to get beat at times this year. Okay, that's the fact of the matter. No one's going to be perfect. He's going to get beat some this year. But I'm so glad that he made that play and he was not getting caught. He took it to the house 85 yards, and he outran a lot of people to get there. So I think that's important to remember. How about that for Will Brooks? I thought that was a really, really cool moment. But I thought Joshua Josephs had a really strong day. I thought Bryson Eason had a really, really strong day. I thought Omar Norman Lott were making some plays. I thought Tennessee's defensive line really dominated this football game. And again, on paper, the offensive line was supposed to be a strength for NC State. Also, I think what this says is, man, the ACC sucks this year. I mean, point blank. I've been here covering this game a lot. I haven't seen a lot of the other scores. I'll do that before I lay my head down tonight, and I'll kind of read in the box scores and all that. But, I mean, Florida State, down. Clemson, obviously, down. I mean, NC State is a team that thought that, they were entering this game knowing that if you won this game and you took care of business the rest of the way against inferior opponents for the most part, you could maybe be a college football playoff team. But that's out the window now because they lost 51-10. So, anyway, I think that this was another example of how the ACC just sucks this year. Point blank, I think it just sucks. And not to say that every team in the SEC is great, but they're, top to bottom, it's a deeper and a better conference than that of the ACC and how it always is. So, anyway, I know I'm going to forget stuff. Overall, defensively, I don't have it in front. Actually, I do. 1 second. Tennessee, I think at one time finished in the game. Okay, 13 TFLs for Tennessee, 3 sacks. 3 sacks, 13 TFLs. Omar Norman Lott had a sack. Jacoby Thomas had a sack. Dominic Bailey had a sack. Dominic Bailey had a really, really good game. But 13 TFLs compared to NC State that had no sacks and 5 TFLs total in this football game. Tennessee forced, 3 turnovers? Yeah, because one time Grayson McCall just dropped the football, and, I mean, that still goes down as a turnover. It still goes down as a forced turnover for Tennessee, even though technically it's not. But overall, again, we'll get into more of the specifics on Monday morning, but this is a dominating effort from Tennessee's defense, and hats off to them. And it started up front with the defensive line like we thought it would, like we thought it would be. It was a dominating performance by the defensive line. So hats off to that. Tennessee, as good as it was defensively, about a C-plus effort offensively. Let's get into offense. Let's get into Nico. Let's get into what went right, what went wrong, and why you still should be feeling really, really good because Tennessee had a 41-point win when your offense wasn't that great. More coming up here as we continue on here with a postcast edition here after Tennessee wins 51-10 over NC State. Back in a moment. I want to say about our friends over at eBay Motors. Passion, drive, patience, the formula for winning championships. What also keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay's Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time, or your money is bad, because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive today at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guarantee Fit only available to U.S. customers. So big thanks to eBay, and I want to give a shout out to our friends over at Factor Meals. I'm a big time fan of Factor Meals, guys. You can fuel up with Factor's no prep, no mess meals. Meet your wellness goals thanks to the menu of chef-crafted meals and options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Factory's fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. So no matter how busy you are, you'll always have the time to enjoy a nutritious, great tasting meals. Make today the day you kickstart that new healthy routine. What are you waiting for? 35 different meals, more than 60 add-ons to choose from every single week. You'll have new flavors to explore. Plus, you can crush those wellness goals this end of summer on into September now with dietitian-approved meals, ingredients that you can trust. So, enjoy a new lifestyle. They're never frozen meals, 2 minutes, and you're ready to roll. Head on over to factormeals.com/LockedOnCollege50. Use that promo code LockedOnCollege50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That is promo code LockedOnCollege50 at factormeals.com/LockedOnCollege50 to get 50% off your first box and 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. So go and check all that out at factormeals.com. All right. Welcome back in here to your postcast edition of Locked On Vols. That you can see behind me, it's Bank of America Stadium. It's going on 1:30 in the morning. You can hear the air. You know, they're blowing the trash. I'm sorry, it's late. I'm forgetting what exactly that's called. Leaf blower. There we go. They're blowing all the trash off the stands. So we're closing it down here. But Tennessee 51-10, a winner over NC State. Dominated defensively. Okay, offensively, there's a lot Tennessee left out there on the field. So much. And, you know, in fact, let's start from the top. Number one, before I dive down into this, I thought run game was good. In fact, it was great. I thought Dylan Sampson, with no Cam Seldon here tonight, okay, Dylan Sampson got 20 touches or 20 carries. He had 3 receptions, and, you know, technically those were, in my opinion, should be rushes because it's a Utah pass. But overall, I think he touched the football 23 or 24 times tonight. He had over 160 all-purpose yards. He had 132 yards on the ground, 2 rushing touchdowns. Dylan Sampson was really good. And shout out to Sean Bishop, stepping up, making the most of his opportunities. Cam Seldon not here, okay? And so Deshaun Bishop has 10 carries for 42 yards, averaging 4.2 yards per pop. Hey, that's not going to win you any All-American medals, but that ain't bad. He had a couple of carries where, I mean, his vision, his patience is just, it's really solid, man. I'm so happy for him. I've seen him, again, I've talked about this all the time, and I've go back to his freshman year at Corns High School doing Rivalry Thursday games. I mean, I have seen this transpire before my very own eyes, and I'm happy for him. I'm really happy for him, and I thought he ran hard tonight. But I thought Dylan Sampson played really, really well. So credit the run game, credit the offensive line for blocking and getting it done in that fashion. All right, let's move on. I don't want to sit here and say, oh my gosh, Tennessee's offense was abysmal. It was terrible. No, it wasn't. I mean, Tennessee still racked up, what was it, 460 yards of total offense on 67 plays. I mean, that ain't bad. That's not bad. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say it's bad, but, you know, Tennessee in the red zone, Tennessee was 5 of 6. Tennessee settled. I don't have the whole book in front of me, so I apologize. Tennessee only scored a couple of touchdowns. Tennessee settled for 3 field goals. Max Gilbert was fantastic in this football game. He made a 45. He made a 36. I thought he was really, really good in this football game. I don't have the complete stat book in front of me on Monday morning, but, you know, settled for field goals, left a lot out there to be desired. Plus, you know, Nico, I thought, you know, kind of pedestrian day through the air, okay? He did finish 16-23, completed around 70% of his passes. He had 2 interceptions. His first interception, boy, he just forced it in there. I mean, there were 4 North Carolina State defenders in the area. He just forced it, right? Young quarterback, going to make mistakes. I've said that all offseason. Like, hey, it's going to happen. At some point, he's going to make a boneheaded young freshman mistake. How many of those does he make in a season? Does he learn from those? That was kind of one of those. He just kind of forced it, right? Later in the football game, it wasn't intercepted. It wasn't broken up or anything. It was a ball that was caught out of bounds by Brew McCoy, actually. I thought he forced another ball where he shouldn't have thrown it, but no harm, no foul, I guess, on that one. So that was the first interception. His second one, he got clobbered. He got absolutely clobbered. And Josh Heupel said in postgame, like, he's got to know, you know, when he's got to eat it a little bit, right? Just take the sack. Well, Javonte Spraggins got blew up, and you know, Nico was hit when he threw, and, you know, just like Will Brooks went 85 yards to the house, so-and-so for NC State did the same thing. Aiden White, pretty good player. He went 87 yards to the house. And that was the only touchdown that was scored, and it was a non-offensive touchdown. It was a score for the NC State defense. So, yeah, you know, Nico had 2 turnovers. It's unfortunate. Josh Heupel probably left Nico in the football game a little bit too longer, but he wanted to even out the touchdowns to the interceptions and make it 2-2. He wanted to get him over 200 yards passing to make those stats look a little bit better. And so at the end of the day, again, he was fine. I don't think he was horrible. I think that there's a couple of throws he'd like to have back, and he was kind of reflective of that in postgame, saying like, hey, I'm so excited my team won. I'm so excited for my teammates who excelled. I think I was okay. I know I got a lot of way to go. I got a lot of improvements to make, and I can't wait to do that. So I thought he was good. Miles Gilson, weapon. How about that, man? Miles Kitselman had a day, nearly had 2 touchdowns. The second one got called back for a offensive lineman down the field. Miles Kitselman is probably going to get one of my game balls, as with Max Gilbert and a couple of these guys. Tennessee went 12 personnel. What is 12 personnel? 12 personnel is 1 running back, 2 tight ends. And we've heard Tennessee talk about how they want to go 12 personnel so much. Don't expect that to be a norm in this offense, but now they have in the back pocket. They can use it when they need to. We talked about that 3-3 stack and how that gives Josh Heupel's offenses some troubles. A 12 personnel scheme is something they can combat it with. And they ran at one point in time, before the blowout was in process, they ran over half of their offense were in 12 personnel. And that was more 12 personnel in this football game than the last 3 years combined, because they haven't had enough tight ends. But Tennessee has 3 healthy tight ends that they like and they play in this football game. I thought that was kind of interesting. Again, offensively, didn't finish drives. That's the biggest bugaboo. They had to settle for too many field goals, 2-minute drive stalled out yet again. But there were some positives. Ran the football really well. Nico made some great throws. Again, it's a really, really good day when your offense has a C+ effort and you win by 41 points. It's a really, really good day. All right, that is going to do it here for this edition of the Postcast. I need to get out of here. I got loads and loads more to say on Monday morning. I'll try my best to go back and watch some of this if time permits. I'll have a column, and I'll have all that coming up here on a sorry, somebody opened the door, made me lose my train of thought. I'll have all that Monday morning, and we'll be ready to roll. I'll have a Cain grades. I'll hand out the game ball. We'll hear the scoring plays, courtesy of the Vol Radio Network, all that and more. Good win for Tennessee. Expected. Hey, you never want to expect a blowout because football is hard at times, especially when you get into SEC play. But how about that? You whip some tail, right? You whip some tail. You weren't your best. You got a whole lot of room to grow for it. You were elite on one side of the football. It's a really good day for Tennessee. My keys of the game, talking about making a statement. Tennessee made a statement in this football game, in my opinion. We'll be back on Monday morning. Appreciate you guys as always. This is Locked On Vols.